Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to show y'all how to do a pole barn. We're going to build a pole barn for our boys. It's a 16 by 72, 12-foot eaves. So they can do their batting and their pitching in it and get their practice in. We got some of the materials here for it. We got our 2x6s by 12s and our 2x6 by 14s for our purlins. And then on the trailer we have our 6x6 posts about 16 foot long. Then we have our metal trusses for the pole barn. We got our box of bolts, our lag bolts, and our screws for holding everything together. We're about to get this process started, and I'm going to walk you through every part of it, showing you the batter boards, how to lay it out, how to set it up, digging your holes for your posts, setting your posts, setting your trusses, setting your purlins, and putting the metal on. We don't have the metal here yet, but it's coming. But I'm going to go get started and bring you all along the way with me. Okay guys, what we're doing here is working on our layout. We're going to find either our property lines on our property if you don't have a privacy fence, and sometimes even if you do, you definitely want to make sure it's straight with the property. A lot of fence companies that don't take the time to find the property lines properly. I know where my property line is in the back and the front. I know this fence was built exactly on it, so I'm going to use the fence as my line to pull off of. Check your setbacks what city you're in and what county you're in. There are setbacks to permanent structures on your property, so make sure you do that properly. Ours is 5 foot. We're going to go 6 foot, so we're good. We're going to pull the measurements here, show you how we get our two measurements here. We'll go to the other end and show you the same. Our 6 foot. Six foot off the fence. Come to that one. We're going to do our 16 foot. That's all this tape has is 16 foot. My big tape broke just a minute ago. I'll have to get another one. But this is a 16 foot small tape we keep in the house. It's going to earn its keep today. Right there. These stakes are just temporary, just marking our corners for us to get our batter boards up. We'll go to the other end and do the same thing. Alright, now we're going to mark our length, which is 72. We're going to come from the stakes we just set off the fence. You know, kind of eyeball it straight. You don't have to be perfect yet. Okay, here we go. Same thing, just repeating it. Setting up my corner. I'll slide it back some more. My stake is here. I'll be good that way. I'll be good this way. If anything, I can still go back some more. As a matter of fact, here we go. That's going to land about there. That's going to land about there. So that looks good. Okay. We want to put our stakes in. Also, we're going to have a string coming this way and this way. So when we go to put our stakes, we want to try to make sure we're not putting our stake right in the way of our string. So come out here on the end. Put a stake on the end. Come in the corner. We know nothing will be in the corner, so we're always good in the corner. Drive it in a little bit till I get my sledgehammer. And then over here we got our line coming this way. So we come out here to the end. Put our last stake in. Not quite that close to the end. There we go. Now I can drive all these in with my sledgehammer. Guys, when you're setting this up, before you drive your stakes, you want to kind of look at your other corner. Make sure your board going towards that corner kind of lines up with the one coming this way from the corner. And same thing this way. You want to make sure this one lines up good with the one down there. Make sure we're not all crooked or wompy. This one needs to come around a little bit. There we go. Not quite that much. About there. Looks good. Then we can drive our stakes. We can set our elevations on them. You ain't got to go crazy far down. Just give it a couple licks. Get it in the ground good and tight. All right, what we have here is a, I call it a laser. Everybody calls it something different. It's just for shooting elevations. You don't have to use this. I mainly have this so I can do things by myself. I have the laser, which comes out of here. Set up the tripod. And then get it close. And then you screw this down tight. And then it will, you just turn it on. It'll auto level and start spinning. Then you have your story pole and your reader. And what this does is, when the reader gets in line with the laser, the constant beep is good. Fast beep means you're high, slow beep means you're low. This is how I do it. You can also use a transit to mark your level on your stakes. But somehow you're going to have to mark a level, and it's going to have to be a transit or either a laser type level. Because 72 feet long, we want to make sure our batter boards are level. That way all our posts will be the same height, because the ground isn't flat over 72 feet. The ground drops as it goes that way. So this will help us do that. Guys, what I did down there, I shot the ground, which I mean I put my story pole on the ground, and I slid my laser up and down until I found where the ground level was. And down there, hold that up so it'll quit beeping. Down there our grade was right here, 2 foot 3.5 inches. Which all that means is my reader is 2 foot 3.5 inches above the ground. That doesn't mean anything. It just means from the end of the pole to my reader is 2 foot 3. So let's find it down here, and I'm gonna turn it down a little bit so it ain't so loud. I'm gonna find it down here and show you just how much the ground falls. Right there. Okay, so now we're at, basically, let's call it 9. 3.5 to 9. So it drops 5.5 inches. So it's not bad. That's actually flatter than I thought it was going to be. So from that end is 5 inches or 5.5, whatever I said. Lower, I'm sorry, higher than this end. This end's lower. The ground falls this way. All the water, when it rains, runs this way. So as we're shooting our grades, down there we'll mark our stakes. But when you come around and shoot your grades, you want to make sure you're sticking your stakes up, leaving them up high enough that that'll work. This one only being 5 inches, it ain't bad. Our stakes will most likely work. But if your property falls 2 or 3 feet in the distance you're doing this, at one end you want to have your batter boards right on top of the ground. I mean, where you're screwing your board off, it's maybe 2 inches above the ground, 3 inches. So when you get to the other end, you know, if it drops 2 feet, you're going to be 2 foot 3 in the air. So one end you're 3 inches, other end you're 2 foot 3. If it drops 2 foot in the distance, we only dropped 5 inches, so it really almost isn't even enough to worry about. So now I'm going to set my reader up on the pole at our grade, and we can mark all our poles for our batter. Oh, I'm sorry, all our stakes for our batter boards to nail up to. My grades on my stakes. I'm watching and listening. Fast beep means down on this laser. So when I get a constant beep right there, I'm good. I marked the bottom of my story pole. How I got this grade? All I did was went to my high end, shot the ground, set the pole on the ground, slid this up and down until I got my steady beep, marked it. That's my grade. All I did was, being my high end is that end, I took that grade, and then I just came down about 4 inches, which gets my batter board up off the ground about 4 inches. So down there will be 4 inches off the ground. This end, remember, it drops 5, so we'll be 9 inches off the ground. So that's all you had to do to get your grade. Shoot the ground, set your laser to it with a constant beep, mark it, that's your high end. Come down the pole 4 inches to mark your grade. Don't go up like you think you would. Going down on the pole is taking your grade up. It's backwards. If you think about it, if our grade's here, and we want to get 4 inches higher, the pole has to go up. So to go up on this pole, you actually go down. And then we hold it on our stakes and mark our grade. back. My Sharpie. Very sensitive. So now we're setting our batter boards, our elevation. We got our marks here and here from our laser. So we get our board where we want it. And this is how you can do it by yourself. Get it right where you want it, both ways. I already started my screws. Get it on your mark, and then lean your leg back against it, and it'll hold it. Put your screw gun in there. Screw it off. Come over here, pick it up, lean against it a little bit, screw it off, come around to this side, put our board up, start our screws. Always start mine first so it's not so hard once I'm holding it. We get our board. On it, pinch it off with our leg. Make sure our boards are even here. We don't have a mark on this side, it's only on that side, so we just match our boards here. Down here, put our leg behind it. Oh, my screw's not in the right spot. Back it out. That's how we screw our boards off. Let's go to the next one. What are you doing, guys? Huh?
It's actually cutting the tree.
Yeah, quit. And kill the tree. Here, we've got our distance set off the fence. We're going 6 foot, so I put me a mark on 6 foot here on my batter board. I did the same down there at that end on my batter board. I looped my string on, and then I pulled it down here. And I can show you all a really cool knot that you can tie with and untie and use it 100 times over if you want. So come by your nail, hold it like this. Basically, this is coming around. I loop around my nail one time. It's one loop. So when I pull the slack out, it kind of holds it for me a little bit. I just keep pulling my slack, get it about as tight as I want it, get it a little tighter. Okay, here's where the knot starts. All right, so holding your string just like this, grab underneath, come under, all you're doing is making a loop right here, putting it over the nail. That's all I've done. And then take the string, come back around behind to this side. Same way we started a while ago. Grab underneath, put the loop over, pull it tight, swing back around this way. Grab underneath, and get that slack out of your way. Grab underneath, put the loop over, pull it. Now that's tied. It will not slip, it will not move. And if we got to change something or move something, it's as simple as me walking up here, unlooping it, unlooping. String's untied. It's not knotted and wasted. I got to run a whole new string. And I'll show you how fast it can be done once you get used to doing it. Just pull your slack out. It's a very fast knot to tie. It's done. So now we're going to set the rest of our strings up. Okay guys, now we're going to set this end string. Just like earlier when we set our stakes for our layout, we still have our 2 stakes in the ground. So we're going to put our string up in place of those 2 stakes. Alright, Caden, go ahead and get your string. Get over that grass. Alright. Pull your stake out, keeping your hole intact best you can. Pull your stake straight up and out. And hold your string behind your batter board and line yourself up right over that hole from the stake. Tell me when you're there. Hey, if you're there, make you a mark on your batter board. I'll make a mark on mine. Make a mark. Alright, I'll put Put a screw in. Come to your end and put a screw in. We can move it and pull the string tight. Loop it. Okay. Now we just held it over our stake holes. This doesn't have to be exactly precise yet. We're going to be really close, but remember we were out of square in the beginning. Once we get our 4 lines up and check square again, we can see exactly what we are, and then we can move it on our batter boards and get it dead perfect. Okay, that's how we set up that end string. Now we're going to set up the rest of the straight ones. Okay, now we're going to set the mark for our long strings, or 72-foot strings that were on the string table. The strings intersect. We're going to mark our string we just put up with our measurement. And hold it right up above the string so you're not pushing or pulling on the string. Come down a little bit lower. Just hold it right on 1 foot. I'm going to mark 17 because you're cutting a foot. Our measurement is 16. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other end, and then we'll run our string. But on the other end, we'll mark it on the batter board. Let me show you all that. So we're down at the other end now. Now you do the same thing, but come out to your batter board, out here where your screw is. So I'm going to mark my batter board this time. So come out, hold me 1 foot there on the string. You can go ahead and go down hard on the board there, it won't matter. Just come right in front of it. Go down no, in front of it. There you go. So 1 foot right there. I'm going to mark 17. You hold me on 1 foot or 2 foot? 1 foot. 1 foot? Okay. Now we can pull our string and get this string going. Okay guys, we got all 4 of our lines up. And now we're going to check our square. And I'm going to show you all exactly how to check square and exactly how to fix it if it isn't square. It can be a little tricky because you have to move both lines. Your whole end has to move when you're checking square. Okay, Caden? You got it there? I'm going to pull tight a little bit. Okay, lean back a little bit against you. Make sure you're not bumping the strings. Good? Yep. 74, 10 and 3/4. I'm going to check the other way. Walk to that corner. Come through the leg real quick. Okay. Right. 74, 7 1/4. So we're 7 1/4, and we're 10 3/4. So 8 1/4, 9 1/4, 10 1/4. So we're 3.5 inches long this way. Okay, in order to fix that, if you're long this way on our pole barn right here, we got to shorten that distance. So we have to bring this end towards the fence, or we have to take this end towards the house. So one way to shorten this side. What I'm probably going to do, let me back up and look at it. See how square our ends look. Yep, that's which way it needs to go. Off our fence, we're good. Where we're off here is straight this way, straight with the fence. So what we'll do is we'll take our two side measurements here, our nails on the sides, and we'll move them towards the house. We're off 3.5 inches. We'll try, normally if you go half that, you can get it. So if we went 1 3/4, 1 3/4, I'm just gonna go, we're gonna go 2.5 inches first and see if that gets it. We'll see if that gets us closer. We'll be able to tell a little bit better. We'll see how that works. We were off 3.5 inches, remember? So all I did was my nail here, it went straight that way for my end line here. I measured 2 3/4 inches towards the house and put another screw in, and I've looped my string over it. I haven't moved my string yet. I just looped it over it. Did the same thing at that end. Measured 2 3/4, put another screw in, grabbed my string and just ran it over it. That way we can check it. If it's right, we'll tie it off to that screw, remove the old screw. If it isn't right, we'll move it a little more to get it right. Let's check our square real quick. Go to that corner, baby. And we know we're looking for something about halfway in between what we had last time. We had 7 1/4 and 10 3/4, so we want something around 8.5 or somewhere in there, roughly. You can actually do the math if you want. A squared, B squared equals C squared, but let's see what we got here. Tell me when you're good. Good. Here we got 9.5. 9.5. Okay, other way. Come on your leg. For anybody that's wondering, that's my oldest son, Caden. He's helping me out here. He's 15. Just got his learner's permit. Okay, you ready? Yeah. Okay, this way we got 74/8. So we're 1.5 inches long that way now. We went too far. Okay, no big deal. We can come back some on our measurement and get this right. So we were 9.5 and 8, 1.5 inches long that way. We went too far. So let's come back. Let's say, let's come back 3/4 and try it there. Okay guys, I took the measurement, I moved it back 3/4. We went too far last time. So now from our original nail, we have moved 2 1/4 inches from our original nail. We're gonna check our square real quick and see if we got it. We're looking for something around 8 3/4. All right. 8 3/4. Okay. Other side, kid. All right. 8 3/4. So we are dead square now. Let's check our measurement here last, because we moved our measurements here on this side to get square. Let's double check our measurement. Make sure we're still right. Okay, cut me 1 foot right on the string. Pull a little tight. Make sure you're not bumping the string or anything. There? Yep. That's good. So now you can let go. We've checked our measurements. We've gotten square. And now we are ready to dig our holes for our posts and lay out our posts. The posts go every 12 feet. So we'll have them right in the corners, obviously, and then every 12 feet, a post will center on that mark. 12 feet, 12 feet, 12 feet, 12 feet. If anybody lets this part scare them about checking the square, very simple. All you got to do is pull your measurements, check your measurements, and measure corner to corner. Whichever way you're long, move the opposite of that. So say we would have been long that way, not this way, that way. We're long that way. Okay, so we have to shorten that. How can we shorten that? Bring this in this way. Because if we take it in that way, we're going to make it even longer than what it is. So if we take that in and bring it this way, we're going to shorten it. Same way as if we took that side and lengthened it, we could shorten it. Because you're going to bring those two corners closer to each other. It's not the hardest thing in the world. It takes a little bit of thinking about getting something square, but don't let it scare you. It isn't that hard to figure out. Just remember, whatever you do to square it, you have to do it here and there. You can't just move one end. If you move one end, it messes up your measurement. If you have 72 feet and you only move one end 3 inches, you no longer have 72 feet. So you have to move both ends the same amount, either that way, this way, this way, this way, whichever way you want to move it. Just move it together. But that's how we get it square. We'll get the camera reset up and start digging some of these holes. Welcome back. Hope you're having a Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel.